Welcome to tonight's Saturday Night Special. Today we have a special episode where I'm asking you for some help. Thanks so much, and again, I appreciate everyone who's listening and the fact that you've come on this journey with me, and I look forward to continuing it for many more years to come.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us on the Inspired Stewardship Podcast. If you truly desire to become the person who God wants you to be, then you must learn to use your time, your talent, and your treasures for your true calling. In the Inspired Stewardship Podcast, you will learn to invest in yourself, invest in others, and develop your influence so that you can impact the world.
You know, one area that a lot of folks need some help with is around the area of productivity. Getting not just more things done, but actually getting the right things done can be really, really tough. I've got a course called Productivity for Your Passion that's designed to help you do this and then to hold you accountable and walk with you so that you can tailor productivity not just to be getting more done, but actually getting the right things done. What's more, we take the approach of looking at your personality and how you actually look at things in the world and tailor the productivity system to your personality. Because the truth is, a lot of the systems that are out there are written really well for somebody with a particular personality type. But if you have a different approach to things, they just don't work. But there's tools and techniques and approaches that you can take that will work for anyone. And we help you do that in Productivity for Your Passion. Check it out over at inspiredstewardship.com/launch. On today's Saturday Night Special, I just wanted to take a few minutes and first off, thank everybody for listening this year. I've been doing the podcast for almost 2 years now, and we've had more downloads this year, more new listeners, a lot of growth, and I'm really excited to see more people come on board. And so I ask today, I've got a couple of things that I want to ask you. And if you're listening to this, whether you've been a long-time listener or this is your first time to listen, I'd like to ask you for a couple of favors. Number one, if you could send me an email to scott@inspiredstewardship.com with the names of folks that you would like to hear on the show. And let me be clear, I'm not just talking big name folks. In fact, I kind of almost want to stay away from some of the biggest names. I want to talk to people who have a unique story to tell, something where they've got something to share about stewardship and how it's impacted their life, something interesting that they've got that they've done or they've written or they've talked about or experienced in their life. Maybe that's actually you. Maybe you would be the perfect guest to come on the show. Or maybe you know somebody in your close circle of family and friends who would be the perfect guest to come on my show. If so, reach out to me, send me an email, scott@inspiredstewardship.com, and let me know who that is and give me their contact information, and I'll reach out to them and set up a time to talk to them about the possibility of being on the show. Second, in that same email, if you've got topics that perhaps I haven't covered or I haven't covered in depth enough, if there's something that you'd like to hear me either talk about in one of the solo episodes or cover as a special episode in depth, kind of like I'm doing this with the series on doing the annual review. If there's topics around your time, your talent, or your treasures that you'd like me to unpack and dive deep into, share those topics with me. In that same email, scott@inspiredstewardship.com, you can let me know who and you can let me know what, or one or the other. And then the next thing is I wanted to remind you that I've got that productivity course. You heard about it at the beginning of the show if you listened. And one of the things that I think a lot of folks set a New Year's resolution about is about getting productive, finding out what they're supposed to be doing and getting the right things done. If you'd like help with that, I invite you to check out my productivity course over at inspiredstewardship.com/launch. I'd love to help you have the best year you could ever have when it comes around managing your time this year. And then lastly, the biggest favor of all, if you've enjoyed anything from this podcast, if you've enjoyed any of my episodes, if there's been anything that you've learned or nuggets you've taken away that have helped you, would you do me a favor and share the podcast with one other person? Reach out to them, show them how to subscribe, get them set up with it on their phone or on their iPod or on their computer, and let them start enjoying the show as well. Just find one other person and share the love by sharing the Inspired Stewardship podcast. Thanks so much. And again, I appreciate everyone who's listening and the fact that you've come on this journey with me, and I look forward to continuing it for many more years to come. Thanks for listening. Thanks so much for listening to the Inspired Stewardship podcast. As a subscriber and listener, we challenge you to not just sit back and passively listen, but act on what you've heard and find a way to live your calling. If you enjoyed this episode, please do us a favor. Go over to inspiredstewardship.com/iTunes rate, all one word, iTunes rate. It'll take you through how to leave a rating and review and how to make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so that you can get every episode as it comes out in your feed. Until next time, invest your time, your talent, and your treasures. Develop your influence and impact the world.